Now this is a brilliant project if you're wanting to give gift vouchers to someone as a present, or if you've got an invitation, because when you open it up you actually see this has got a trio of pockets inside. So it opens down continually like in a waterfall cascade, and then each of these sides opens up alternatively, and you've got then the little pocket inside each one of them. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, but the whole thing is made from one piece of A3 cardstock. So pop that to one side so you can see what we're working towards. Starting with a full sheet of A3, I'm working on the inches side of the board, and because we're not constructing a box here, we don't need to worry about the box lid and box base. So what we're going to do is use the true measurements for everything, which is your box lid. And just to remind you what that is, what we do is always have the handle at the top of our work surface, and we're working from the left-hand butting side. So I'm going to start with the full length, the full side butted here. This is why this board's brilliant, because otherwise you would be trying to score in two parts and glue together. But I'm just full length scoring the A3 cardstock, and I'm going to score at 3 7/8. So that's one little notch before the 4 here. Full length down. And then I'm going to score at 7 7/8. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 7/8. One little score line just before the 8 here. Okay, all the way down the bottom. Then turn it right round so that we're butting the shorter edge up against the butting edge, and we're going to score first of all at 3 7/8 again, so one little score line before the 4, and then you're going to nip on a couple of lines and do it at 4 1/8, so it's just two little lines on, so you've got a set of trom lines very close together. Okay, then a little bit further up we're going to go to 8 inches, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches, and we're going to score at 8, and then 8 1/2. That's our second little set of score lines. You can see they're getting progressively wider. Now turn it right around, and I want you to score at 3 5/8 this time, and also at 4 1/8. So that's the widest one yet. Okay, so that is all of our scoring done for the assembly. If you are going to make the little pockets, then we're going to go back to this side, and on the top left hand corner you're going to score at 1 6/8. So 3/4, but I call it 6/8 so that it's easy for you to count the 6th score line in, because they're all in eighths. Then at this side we're going to score this panel, so this is the first set of trio. The second set of trio we're going to score at 10 inches. So I'm going to bring my 10-inch line down and score that central panel at 10 inches. Then this one we're going to go back to scoring at 1 6/8. And then this is our bottom, so this is cut away all together. So that's all the scoring done, and now we're going to cut the panels away. So starting at the bottom, first of all I'm going to cut right up, always cutting in the centre of the score line to where our first 2 points are. And I'll just tell you exactly how I know what I'm working at the bottom. As we've had it, we've just scored the 1 6/8 at the top, so make sure you're not cutting into that one. So we're going to cut away, and I'm cutting on the second score line here. Okay, same again, cutting right up the central score line, and then cutting away on the second score line here. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut into my, I call them trom lines, on both sides. So cutting up the central part, both sets of trom lines here. Do the same on the other side. And if you follow it logically as I'm explaining here, this is the easiest way to make sure you cut everything in the right place. Okay. And I'm just going to cut these out now, these little score lines. Some people find it easier to use a scoring knife. I just always find it easier to cut with scissors, but you use whichever you find easiest. There's not a benefit to using a certain method over another. Okay. All right, so I'll just keep that the same way up so that you can follow how I'm working. So that's all of the cutting cut out of the centres. And then what we're going to do is cut out here the flaps. So you've got 2 flaps on one side and 1 flap on the other side. Okay, so you can see that. So that is all of our scoring. Now, it's up to you. If you want to put little finger holes in, if I just bring in the one that I've completed, so it's exactly the same as this, but you can see here that I've cut little finger holes using a 1-inch punch on these parts here. And it's just to help me, you know, to make it a little bit obvious that they are the flaps. So, if I'm ready to glue this together, if I bring in my cutting mat, then you'll be able to see a little bit better. I've already put my double-sided tape on here. Now I've lined the insides just to give it a little bit of extra strength. But if I just show you, if I take away the double-sided tape, and I'm using the very fine double-sided tape here, because then I only have a little bit of glue at the edges. Now did you notice what I do there? I'll show you it again on the next one. As I pop this down in place, I slightly board it with my fingers, just so that when you are putting vouchers or the little cards for invitation pieces in, it's easy to do. So all I'm doing is popping it in and just pushing the sides in to give a little bit of a bow in the centre. So one last time here. Sides in, a little bit of bow into the centre. And then all you would do is fold in 1 side, 2 side, 3 side. These fold up, wrap in on each other, and you've got the piece that comes round at the top. And if I bring back in the one that I've decorated, you can see there, fold in, fold in, fold in, roll right around, and then there's my panel on the top. And if you can see, I've just used some panels of decoration and stuck the ribbon onto the back panel, so that if you want to tie it, the ribbon's going to hold everything in place like that for you. Nice and easy when you know how to do it. I would recommend just doing a practice one out of scrap card and actually probably keeping yourself, once you've made the template out once, it's worth having that as a point of reference just to keep going back to, so that you know exactly what you're doing till you've made this a few times.